Did someone say Superman?
No, we said Spider-Man.
Have no fear, for I am here.
Go away, All Might. We're talking about Spider-Man.
Aww.
Yes, indeed. Spider-Man 2002.
Yes, with Spidey Maguire.
Spidey Maguire.
Trademarking. I'm starting that.
Okay, you have the floor, but
No. I mean, I'm trademarking Spidey Maguire. No one else has thought of that.
touche. Oh man, that takes me back. Nostalgia lane.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my dad taking me to this movie. He was so excited because he's the biggest Spider-Man fan. You know?
Yes.
He collected the comics. He collected all the 60s comics. And he wanted to show... and I was this freaking kid in, like, middle school. I was like, Dad, what's so exciting about this guy in red tights? He's like, just watch. And I watch, and I was like, that is so awesome!
Yeah.
It's like, hi, pew, 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 swing, swing.
Oh, yeah. I had a similar experience. This actually wasn't my first venture into Spider-Man. There was a TV series, I think, from the 80s that my dad actually bought a couple tapes for us. And one of them was the Green Goblin, the other was Dr. Doom. And, this was back, like, in the late 90s, so I was in kindergarten and heavily unmedicated for my ADD, that I really didn't think anything of it. Then when this movie came about, that's when I started to learn that, yes, my dad is also collected the comics for Spider-Man, and funny enough, he even told me this, is that he actually lent his friend his comics, his Spider-Man and Fantastic Four comics, and never didn't get them back because his friend told him that his mom threw them away.
The horror!
Now, that's either true or an absolute lie. 'Cause
The world may never know.
either way, he lost his collection.
I'd be pissed.
Oh, I'm sure he was. I mean, I'm pretty sure that friendship ended.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, that's like sacred trust broken.
but coming back to the movie, is that this was the movie that actually got me really into Marvel Comics. I mean, it was bright and colorful. It had the web swinging action that I remembered from whatever the cartoon series that I watched. It was awesome at the time. Nowadays, since this Spider-Man is kind of gone the way of Doctor Who and James Bond. Everyone's got their own.
Yeah, honestly, if I had to say something, it's the fact that at the time it was a very good Spider-Man, but you gotta keep in mind, this was a time when comic book hero movies were not viewed in a...
We'll get to that later. Ian?
Yeah.
Ian's now your part.
Well, this movie actually holds a special place in my heart for a couple reasons. A little bit of backstory. I've never been a big superhero fan.
Okay, no, not judging.
No judgment.
And this movie was my first superhero movie ever. This was my first dabble into anything Marvel, anything superhero. And to be honest, when I first saw it, I was like 4 years old at the time. Some parts scared me, but I had a great memory of it. And watching it again last night in preparation for this review, I enjoyed it so much because it brought back all of those childhood memories.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had to rewatch it too, not because I had forgotten about it. I've watched this movie like 1,000 times, not as much as Jurassic Park or How to Train Your Dragon, but enough times that I could probably play the movie in my head without actually having the movie. But I didn't want to take a chance of me making up crap because memory is faulty.
It is. But honestly, I have my nitpicks about this movie.
Okay, it has been 17 years since this movie came out. There have been 2 actors that have held the mantle of Spider-Man. How does this hold up?
Okay, if you're gonna judge Spidey Guire here, he does a good Does he do a good Spider-Man?
I don't think so.
He does a good geeky Peter Parker.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yes, Ian.
Ian.
Geek. Wow.
Geek.
And this is something I love. Now, he's socially awkward.
Mm-hmm.
I can't speak for you two, but I was socially awkward.
Yes.
I randomly quoted TV shows and movies in school. So,
I randomly quoted Jurassic Park whenever I could to my teachers to spite them.
Clever girl.
Yes.
Oh, but how many times did you say "hold on to your butts"?
Constantly, and the teachers got tired of it. I'm like, would you like me to say "hold on to your ass" and excite the donkey? That got me.
Oh no!
Some
Here's
trouble?
a great one. That is one big pile of shit.
I actually tell that to the teacher about homework. Luckily, class was over and they couldn't do anything about it.
Or you mean like it was summer vacation?
Like, no, it was like school was over.
For the day.
Like, it was the last. It was for the day. It was the last period. Bell rang. No, pretty much done. And I went to the teacher, like, looked at the homework pile. That's one big pile of shit.
But Spider-Man.
But Spider-Man, yes.
But, okay, first off, I want to say this. It's not... Tobey Maguire was not bad. He's not bad. There's something... He does good emotionally.
Yeah, he does good at being geeky Peter Parker and actually kind of the stereotypical geekiness. I mean...
Seriously, that's the 60s kind of geeky there. With the beginning part.
Oh my god, and that's actually what's kind of funny because this still made me laugh even to this day is that even the geeky girl who even looks more like a weirdo than Peter Parker doesn't want to be associated with him.
That burns.
That's funny. Even among outcasts, he's an outcast.
But here's my biggest problem with this. He's not the traditional Spider-Man. Spider-Man likes to taunt his opponents, make fun of them, and Tobey doesn't do that.
He doesn't talk much, and he doesn't make any sarcastic comments. The only time would be in the cage match with the late Randy Macho Man Savage.
Yeah.
What are you doing up there?
Staying away from you.
I mean,
that's a cute outfit. Did your husband give it to you?
I mean, okay, you could have done more with that. Honestly, why couldn't you have done more with that?
Because then we probably would have gotten more lines like, "It's you who's out, Gobby. Out of your mind."
Ugh.
Oh my god.
Cringe. That's just cringe.
I know. I think even in the 2000s. That was just out of place.
But then again, you know what else is out of place? How outdated the CGI is.
It is.
Did you remember when he's leaping across buildings? Whoa! He looks like he's just being pulled up by a string.
I would like to inform our viewers that it's not just gonna be all hate and criticizing of this movie. We will point out some of the strengths.
Oh, I know. Oh yeah, we will.
But yeah,
yes,
who did the CG for this? Does anyone know offhand?
Who?
Yeah, who did the CG?
I don't know about who, but
like
I don't.
What company?
But
well, that'd be Sony, wouldn't it? Or is that the distribution?
Sony would be the ones who hold the distribution rights as well as the marketing of that. Let me see. VFX.
Visual effects supervisor, John Dykstra.
Dykstra. Oh my god, that name does sound familiar. I think maybe because there was actually a Dykstra who was actually in charge of the merchandising for Spider-Man.
Huh.
I think he was the reason why, because technically Marvel was bankrupt in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
Until he I think he told Marvel to just release the stuff yourself. And that's how we got Iron Man. But that's a story for another day. But let's see. God.
But yeah,
visual effects supervisor.
Special effects,
here we go.
They haven't aged well. They haven't Jurassic Park aged well.
Yeah,
that's funny how Tyler and I, we were just talking about that, like how, and funny enough, it was when I decided to put in the 1998 Godzilla movie, which was also released by Sony and TriStar.
It was, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's see, special effects, Amalgamated Dynamics, Digiscope, Gentle Giant Studios, uncredited, Gilder Fluke and Company. Why does that sound like another royal prince from The Princess Bride?
Oh no.
Pixel
Magic.
And Sony Pictures ImageWorks.
Oh,
special
so
visual effects.
Apparently.
Sony did it along with many other companies, which is not that uncommon nowadays.
Yeah. But yeah, regardless, the CGI is out of date, and like
a lot of CGI from the late '90s, early 2000s, and even a few from the mids are obviously and cringeworthy. They're out of date.
Oh yeah, like remember when Green Goblin throws that pumpkin bomb and they all turn to skeletons? Look at those bones. Look at them bones.
Damn bones. Your head bone's connected to the neck bone.
I mean, God.
I don't know how that song goes.
That looks nothing like a real bone.
To be fair, to a 12-year-old and a 4-year-old, that shit's scary.
Indeed, it is.
That shit is scary, and so we now have a little bit of tension. We know that if Spider-Man is near one of those bombs when he goes off, well, he's not gonna have any trouble being a skeleton for Halloween.
But I don't know. Maybe because no, I saw this movie as probably middle school.
I would have been 12.
12,
because 2002. Funny enough, I think I remember this actually came out on the day that I got I was in Taekwondo at the time, and I think this movie came out at the time I actually got my yellow belt.
Oh gosh, I feel bad for your parents.
When did this come out? When did the movie come out?
I'm sure May 2002, because it's a superhero movie. It's got to have been a summer blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And nowadays, thanks to Avengers Infinity War, the last week of April is now going to be the start to summer blockbusters.
Yeah.
Yep, May 3rd, 2002.
Huh. May is now associated with heroes forever and more. May and April.
Well, not associated with heroes. They're associated with the start of summer, therefore blockbusters.
But I did remember watching a trailer, and it's kind of unfortunate I didn't know how significant it was at the time, considering that for people at the time, they cringed because I didn't know why. Mind you, I was like, well, I kind of knew why, but I didn't realize the significance of the buildings.
Yes.
Catching a helicopter between the Twin Towers.
Oh, yes. And that was actually a teaser trailer.
It was a teaser trailer.
Because of the events of 9/11, that teaser had to be removed, and also there have been several teaser posters, where there's a reflection of the Twin Towers in Spider-Man's eye lenses. They've all tried to be recalled, but according to IMDb, let's see. Also a nice little. Also, if I remember, try to remind if we somehow talk about X-Men, remind me about Hugh Jackman, because apparently he has some connection to this. Anyway, here we go. After the terrorist attacks on the USA of September 11, 2001, Sony recalled teaser posters which showed a close-up of Spider-Man's face with the New York skyline, including, prominently, the World Trade Center towers, reflected in his eyes. Not all the posters were recovered, however, and the ones still at large are now highly prized collector's items.
Yep, that's the world of today. But now, let's go about the plot. I mean, the plot's simplistic. It's simple enough.
It's very simple. I mean, it's like straight from the comic books. In fact, everything seems to be lifted straight from the comic books, and I think that has to do with the fact that Sam Raimi, who we all who most horror fans know from the Evil Dead trilogy, he got the job because he's a Spider-Man fan. So he got to work on a movie of which he was a fan of. Nowadays that's a dime a dozen, but at the time, that's like a dream project.
It is.
And so so the plot is very simple. Peter's a geek, gets bitten by a spider, gets spider powers,
Get a 6-pack in a pound next morning.
Let's see. Best friend's father is let's see. Since this is an early 2000s, I'm kind of guessing this is like a corporate takeover kind of thing.
Oh yeah, it's very generic.
Very generic. I'm kind of glad that scene was cut out of Lost World.
Even though it does provide context.
It does. I will give it that. Because he decides to test himself on this new experimental performance enhancing drug, he becomes the Green Goblin.
AKA steroids.
It's steroids, yeah. So he's roid raging the entire movie.
Pretty much.
He's got dissociative identity disorder mixed with roid raging.
But to be fair, he is the most memorable part.
He is.
Well, can we really fault him for that? It's Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
This movie introduced me to Willem Dafoe, and when I saw him in Boondock Saints, and then when he finally goes like full craziness, I was like, yes, that's who I remember.
I mean, look at the movie though. It looked like Dafoe had so much fun with it.
Oh, how can you not?
I know. I mean,
Itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout.
The heart, Osborn. First, we attack his heart.
I mean, God Almighty, that's something only hams could dream of that they wished they could do.
Wait, was Willem Dafoe on our hamminess scale?
No, we need to add that.
We need to correct this egregious insult.
We do.
Who here wants to see daggers full of Willem Dafoe?
I think we've seen that.
We've seen that. Night in the Fury.
The Night in the Fury. Yes.
That's right.
Ah,
Although something that keeps bugging me. He keeps pulling Darth Vader. Join me.
yes, he does. But you know what's awesome though? At the time, I didn't think James Franco was gonna be anything special.
Yeah. Again,
AKA Harry Osborn here.
Again, this movie also introduced me to James Franco, and looking back on this movie, I mean, it's only been like a decade and a half, and I see him and I'm going, oh my god, he was so young.
Yeah.
It hasn't even been that long yet.
And
I mean, I can look back at Sylvester Stallone movies and Stallone now and go, wow, he was very young.
yeah, and honestly, like it's kind of weird because at the time I thought he was kind of forgettable. Now he's not anymore. Mostly because I think what was the forgettable part was Harry. I think Harry was a bit of forgettable.
In the first movie?
Yes.
Oh,
What'd you find?
on Wikipedia under Willem Dafoe. Do you know who else was offered the role for the Green Goblin? Three people.
Wait.
I think I do remember.
Robin Williams?
No, let me read them off to you. Nicolas Cage,
Oh. I mean,
John Malkovich,
Yes.
and Jim Carrey.
I have a hard time seeing Jim pulling that off.
I-
Not that he couldn't. It's just I've seen him with The Mask.
The Mask, Ace Ventura.
Yeah. I don't think he.
I think Nicolas Cage could pull it off rather well, though.
Yeah. Okay,
He could, but I would still think the Joker role he played would hold him back. In a way, like not him, but the public.
Joker role?
Nicolas Cage. Sorry, I'm thinking Jack Nicholson. God.
Okay.
Sorry.
He won't. I think you must be thinking of Superman.
No.
He would have played like Superman in Superman Lives.
Yeah. No, I was thinking Jack Nicholson from Batman.
Let's
Nicolas Cage. Huh.
Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I know. Now, Nicolas Cage. Seriously, Green Goblin?
I can actually see that. Because of the whole, not the bees thing.
I mean, this was before bees.
Yes, but
honestly, I wonder.
He does play roles where he likes to lose his shit.
I mean, those are the fun ones.
Those are the fun ones.
Say A B C D E F G.
Face off.
But no, I think we can all agree that Green Goblin was pretty much the highlight of the movie, which is kind of weird. Like, well, it's not weird because there's a lot of times villains are the highlight of any.
Just look at classic Disney.
Yeah, look at classic Disney. Which makes it weirder considering if you look at the traditional Spider-Man comics, it should be more on par with the villain and Spidey, that they have some sort of chemistry of taunting each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it seems like it's supposed to be Willem Dafoe doing the taunting.
I know. Oh, God. The guy was so over the top that, not Willem Dafoe, the Green Goblin, he was so over the top that he attacks Aunt May in her home and forces her to finish the prayer.
Yes. I mean, okay, that is pretty memorable.
Very.
And
Spider-Man! Now you will see how a hero is rewarded. Because you never know when some lunatic is gonna come along with a sadistic choice. Either baby love or suffer the little children.
Okay. Now, and I guess the other awesome part is that there were no audio effects. That was all Dafoe.
I know.
And so that's
Well,
why I know that's why I really like the mirror scene, because not only is it's very simple in its setup, but also when there's an uninterrupted cut, when we actually see the physical transformation between Goblin and Defoe, it's believable.
Oh yeah.
Like when we first see his alter ego in the mirror, he's drinking the scotch in his hand, and he's just all like loose and confident. Takes a drink and then back to Norman, tosses the empty glass away.
You know, the more impressive part is the design of the Goblin, because they were conflicted about how to approach Green Goblin, because the problem is, like, in the comics, the Goblin almost looked like he transformed, like his eyes could move, and like, you could see the eyes moving across, any direction, which would be, did he transform? Like, his face was expressive.
I think,
and they were actually working on a mask that would do the whole, face, expressions.
Huh.
Yeah, rubber mask.
Ah, okay.
Like practical effect kind of thing.
Okay.
And I think Sam Raimi decided that it wouldn't work. It was too cheesy.
And let's not forget that this is also the guy that kind of has a niche in cheesy horror.
Yes.
Horror effects.
And so he's like, a mask will do. And you look at, yeah, that iconic Green Goblin mask works.
Yeah.
And oh man, so many memories.
So, all right. So some of the set design, the setting, actually, the world of New York, and even Peter Parker, geeky Peter Parker, and choice of Willem Dafoe, James Franco. There's a lot of good points in this movie.
Oh yeah.
I think one of the biggest thing that my nitpick that I don't have, and this is finally after acknowledging that The Amazing Spider-Man is not all as perfect as I thought it would be, and how Tom Holland is actually a pretty good Peter Parker and Spider-Man, is that the dialogue is just out of date.
Oh yeah.
Is out of date. Like this, like going back to the bridge scene, this, even at 12 years old, it felt out of place when the goblin just randomly decides to shout, "We are who we choose to be." I'm sorry, that just reminded me of the Iron Giant.
Honestly, you know what I love about the movie? The cinematography. The cinematography is the best part, in my opinion, about this movie, because, when you see Spider-Man swinging, like, looking at the fact when he swings into the fiery building, like, that looks awesome. And it's kind of amazing. It feels like you're along for the ride when he's swinging. And I think that's the biggest strength of the movie itself, is the cinematography. It's not the dialogue, it's certainly not the special effects.
No.
But it is the cinematography that it takes you for an adventure. When you're swinging alongside of him, and you can feel like you're a part of that ride.
Yeah. And I think, all right. And Ian, you're just sitting there on the other end, cleaning your nails. We're hijacking this thing again. I think there's one actor that I'm surprised that we actually left him out for this long.
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson.
You couldn't call for perfect casting if you could.
I mean, my God. I don't think they really got J.K. Simmons. I'll bet they went to the government, pulled out an experimental ray gun that is supposed to open a portal to an alternate dimension where these characters actually exist, and pulled him out. He looks exactly as he does in the original comics.
He acts like him. In fact, like, my dad showed me the comic, and I was reading it, and the way J.K. Simmons talked, I was actually picturing perfectly in my head. it was that kind of rough and tumble voice.
Mm-hmm. the thing is that, and like a lot of roles, I'm trying. My mind's going so fast.
Your mouth vomiting there.
Yeah, like a lot of actors who get the good roles, the one that puts them on easy street. J.K. Simmons really loved playing Jameson. In fact, he's even returned to play that character, not just in the sequels, but I think I remember him doing a voice in The Simpsons.
Mm-hmm.
So just like with Peter Weller or Adam West, there are roles that they hold close to their heart because it's what got him there in the first place.
Oh yeah. Now there's another actor we haven't talked about.
Who?
And now she's not bad, and I don't fault her for this. I don't fault Kristen Dunst.
Oh, her. That's right.
She looks like a good Mary Jane. I don't think the writing of the movie makes her not like Mary Jane. Based on the comics. Because
honestly, I never got that far in the comics. All I know about Mary Jane from the original is that that Aunt May kept trying to set up meetings with her and Peter. Never worked out.
Well, yeah, but
so she was like the red-haired girl from Charlie Brown. She's referenced, but you don't see her.
But the problem here, I believe, I don't know about you, Ian, damsel in distress. Constantly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I can't help but go to the sequel to this movie. It's a running theme.
It is.
She doesn't have any proactive... Now, I don't know if this was the writing or whatever.
I honestly think it is the writing.
She needs some proactive... She needs to be a bit more proactive, I think.
Yeah, and
she needs to have a bit more... She needs to do more.
More of a spine?
She's just... I hate to say it, she's just looking pretty for the camera.
Yeah.
And she's great. She looks like a good Mary Jane Watson. I am not saying she does not look like they pulled Mary Jane Watson out of the comics. She looks like her. But it drives me nuts how often she's in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she cannot do anything for herself.
2, 3 times in this film?
She was dangling from the edge of a balcony.
Climax. Saved by almost getting mugged in the pouring rain.
Yep.
2. Saved from the Green Goblin during the parade attack.
Yep.
3.
3.
So yeah, 3 times in just one movie.
Yeah.
If they had it at 2, I would be okay with that. But
now,
three times.
Yeah, I think if you count, just the first and third rescue attempts, take out the second one because that's clearly meant to be fan service.
It is. But no, to be fair, the third, I kind of feel mixed. Like, it is a good scene, that third one, because Peter has to make the sadistic choice, but it's obviously supposed to be for a different...
For Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know how I feel about that, because on one hand, is it good writing? I mean, obviously you have to make tough choices to adapt something, and sometimes you have to take inspirations rather than just simply uplifting from the source material. You have to, combine things together, make, new scenes out of, 2 different scenes to try to use compromising on certain things.
I really don't know. On the one hand, because since that scene was used in the original Spider-Man, they couldn't use that exact same setting for the climax of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. But the choice that they made in movie 2 of the previously mentioned franchise is kind of nice and still kind kind of adds a little bit, I don't know, a little more symbolism to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fight in a clock tower. How many of our childhood stories have had climaxes take place in a clock tower? Castle of Cagliostro, the Clock King in Batman the Animated Series, the freaking Great Mouse Detective.
Oh yeah, but honestly, what makes that one hits harder is the fact that in the comics, he catches her, but the sun stops, snapped her neck. Now,
there's actually some debate about. Oh wait, are you talking about the comic or the movie?
The comic, but in the movie, it's not the fall, it's not the stop, it's the landing her head on the ground.
Yeah, actually, there has been some debate about the comic about how she died, because the Goblin even states that she died of fright.
I don't know, because, but that's neither here or there.
Mm-hmm.
But going back on the topic of whether or not should they have really tried to make that scene different and try to imitate Gwen Stacy? I admire the ambition.
Mm-hmm.
But what about you, Ian?
Well, I mean, granted, I've never read the comic, but keeping in mind my channel's primary audience, if we look at Jurassic Park, they did combine a lot of things from Crichton's first book into the next movie. And that's not just for the original Jurassic Park trilogy. That goes into Jurassic World and Fallen Kingdom. They keep pulling things from the previous book. Now,
yeah.
Going to Spider-Man, I can see why they would try to do that, to tie in the Green Goblin, so it would be like, oh yeah, so that way people who read the comic will be like, oh yeah, that's where that's from.
I guess.
But it feels
off.
It does a little bit.
Yeah, it's like, it is kind of a. Well, now that you mention that, it is kind of weird. Like, it's an odd choice for the Goblin to make. But then again, one of the symptoms of that drug is insanity.
Yeah, but
so it is kind of keeping with the character.
It is keeping with the character, but I don't know, because hell, it would have been made more effective even if he didn't have the sadistic choice to try to save two things at once, or do the Batman, as I call it. Do you want to pick Chase Meridian or Robin?
And that's actually reminded me why. That reminded me about when we we were told Jim Carrey might have also been part. I would have thought it probably would have thought too much like the Riddler from Batman Forever.
True. Then again, there's also that one part. I don't know if I should admire it or laugh at it, because it's kind of admirable, but it's kind of funny. It's like, you mess with us, you mess with all of us! And they start throwing and pelting everything at the Goblin.
I mean, that's funny. That's funny that the villain is stopped by, New Yorkers being New Yorkers, throwing their trash in anything but the garbage cans.
Exactly.
Although I'm pretty sure New York is a lot cleaner nowadays.
Yeah.
But the dialogue,
again,
it was a different time. It was a different time.
I don't know. I've never been to New York. I want to see what New York is all about, and I'm not sure if the only things I know about New York is from Seinfeld and Friends, and I don't think that's accurate enough. But I don't know if everyone sounds Brooklyn, or I don't even know if Queens have an accent.
I don't know about Queens, and not everyone says, "Hey, I'm walking here."
Yeah, but
people who live in New York City, comment down below.
Yes, please. Yes. Also, let us know about the state of New York. Is it clean? Is it cleaner? Do
you guys carry trash with you to throw at random bad guys? Because I'm wondering about that. Like, where did they get all that trash on that cart?
Inside their cars.
So, like, did you just empty that garbage barrel?
Bro,
I mean, that would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But there is one actor we forgot about.
Ooh,
Two, actually.
2.
yeah, 2.
All right. You want to go first, Ian?
Yeah, we've held this end for too long.
Cliff Robertson.
That's who the guy's name was.
Yeah.
I thought for some reason I thought it was Calvin.
No, it's Cliff.
Cliff.
He plays Ben Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. John?
Oh, jeez. Rosemary Harris, I think that's her name.
That's correct, yeah.
Rosemary Harris plays Aunt May. Or in this day and age, she would now be Grandma May.
Yeah, Grandma May. But those two were not the actors I was thinking of, but hey, we all can't be Sam Raimi's favorite actors.
Are you talking? Oh, you're talking about
Bruce Campbell's
Bruce
cameo.
Campbell.
Bruce Campbell having cameos in every movie.
We're talking about the one movie, though.
I know, but still, it's funny to see him as an announcer.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Cliff Robertson, Cliff and Rosemary again, just like J. Jonah Jameson.
We're looked at from the comics.
They look like they came straight from the comic books. So,
but at the time, like, it was awesome to see Uncle Ben talk about, with great power comes great responsibility.
mm-hmm. And May always delivering that wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
That comes from years of experience.
No, I still cringe about the angel, the whole angel thing. How they met. My God, the dialogue in this thing needs work.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't sound natural.
David Kep.
It doesn't sound
natural. Of course, it's David Kep. He writes everything.
Who's David Kep?
He was the writer. I think he might have also worked on he might have worked on the script for Men in Black.
He worked on some Jurassic movies.
And if he did, that out of touch dialogue fits in with the first Men in Black. You know, when you like, that was the first time I heard "Be there or be square."
My God. So wait. Okay, I think it's starting to ring bells. Like wow. Okay, now I'm starting to think. Now. Whew.
You mean you weren't before?
Oh, I was. It's just, it took me a bit to think about where I've heard of him. And I now remember watching the director's cut of Jurassic Park and about who worked on the project.
David Kep, screenplay.
His best-known films he has written include the sci-fi adventure films Jurassic Park, The Lost World Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the action spy film Mission Impossible, Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit, the superhero film Spider-Man, this film, the sci-fi disaster film War of the Worlds, the mystery thriller Angels and Demons. Kep has directed 6 films over the course of his career: The Trigger Effect, Rebecca's Secret Window, Ghost Town, Premium Rush, and Mordecai.
Okay, I'm kind of confused.
Right.
Like,
okay,
he has good writing. It's obviously he has good writing, considering we go from Jurassic Park, Mission Impossible, and.
But then look at his other writing credit, The Mummy with Tom Cruise. Oh my God.
Wait. Oh God. I thought that was the 1999 one.
No, that would have been a mercy.
2017, The Mummy.
I think that's actually the one time that I quoted Ebert, because he said it best. He didn't say it about this movie, it was a different movie, but it fits. I hated this movie. Hated it. I hated every simpering, stupid, idiotic moment of it. Oh.
Well, I guess we all can't lay a golden egg every time.
No, sometimes there's a golden turd.
Well, yeah, but
although for some reason, looking at this, he does seem to work with Tom Cruise a lot. Mission Impossible, The Mummy. Let's see, War of the Worlds.
I think that's more of a coincidence.
Okay.
But
But it seems that apparently Spider-Man was the only screenplay that David kept worked on in the trilogy. He didn't work on any of the other ones.
Huh. But yeah, I think we all said what was the good things about this movie is essentially we all have our version of what we think makes it a good Spider-Man movie.
Mhm.
Ian, you have more of an emotional connection with it. I think myself it has more great cinematography that some the Amazing didn't really have. Like it had good shots, but it didn't capture that feel.
I thought there were some good cinematographies in the Amazing Spider-Man, some that actually kind of replicated the panels of a comic book.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying there
okay.
wasn't, but it's just most the style.
All right, and I don't feel like we're done. I feel like there's a lot more that we can talk about.
There's a lot we can talk about.
Especially, let's at least give Ian some time to speak.
I'm just along for the ride, apparently.
I know, yeah, jeez. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay, Ian, what is your favorite part of this movie?
I don't know, almost any part with Willem Dafoe, really.
Me and MJ are gonna have one hell of a time.
I am so glad that we put that in our review for Thor, because it was exactly like that, almost word for word.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, yeah, I remember that scene mostly because I was 12 years old, and I was like, he said hell. He said hell.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Let's see. My favorite...
Guys, listen to this. Spider-Man co-creator Stan Lee also had a cameo in which he asked Peter, guess what he said? This was actually cut from the movie.
Oh.
Oh man.
What?
Hey kid, would you like a pair of these glasses? They're the kind they wore in the X-Men.
Oh, and that was... Oh, that's right. And thank you. You brought up X-Men. Now I can bring up that trivia. I can bring up that trivia. Come on. Gotta get back. I gotta get back. Here we go. Apparently, Hugh Jackman revealed that he was supposed to have a brief cameo as Wolverine. Jackman actually showed up in New York to film the scene, but the entire plan was scrapped because the crew couldn't get the Wolverine costume.
Oh, crap.
That's sad, but think about it. Sony having a cameo from someone that is owned by Fox.
Wow, that would have been not the first crossover, but that one would have been like a start-up of the MCU.
That could have started the MCU. But remember how so jazzed we were when we heard that Spider-Man was coming to the MCU? That Sony, after so many screw-ups, are finally letting Marvel bring back Spider-Man?
Mm-hmm.
But this one, oh my god, oh, I got dizzy for a moment. I got so excited I got dizzy.
Oof.
Blood needs to go back to my brain. I need to hang upside down for a bit.
Okay, Spider Boy. Come back to Earth. Come back down to the ground.
Boy, I'm 29 years old. I'm Spider-Man. It's man.
Man.
Ian, do you regret ever coming into our world?
No. I needed some excitement. Perception.
Okay. You know, another thing that stuck out to me was how I think my favorite scene was the spider senses.
I like the sound that it makes.
Time felt it slowed, and you could see that everything in the high school, the spit wad going from the straw,
The Fly.
the fly.
That CG on the Fly, though.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
the CG on the spit wad, even the little trails of saliva.
Yeah. And then the fist that looks like someone's taking roid rage. Actually, he looks like he's trying to become the Hulk.
Yeah, they had to wait a few years for that.
Unfortunately, it was the Ang Lee version.
Oh, I actually forgot about that. I was thinking of the
Incredible.
Yeah, the Incredible one. What's his name? Jeez, I can't remember name. Edward Norton. I can't remember names today.
Wow. That's unusual for you. Very usual for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
that's
you forgot about the Hulk that had Eric Banner?
Bana?
Whatever his name is.
No, it's just not as important. Okay, that's the high school fight scene.
Yes.
Cliche. But I think what's funny is that no one points out how geeky Peter Parker, did 3 backflips in midair.
I love how everyone thinks it's normal.
Yes.
Those raging hormones, though.
I know. It's just...
The raging hormones. That's
I know.
Perfect.
Yeah. Although that event does actually give a good remark, at least from Harry. You know, when MJ begs, "Help him, Harry!" Backflips 3 times. Which one?
That is a good one.
Okay, so the Uncle Ben scene, you know, in the car, when he's talking about with great power comes great responsibility. Don't you think it's kind of a little
out of place?
Oddly placed? Because I get what he's trying to say, but he's implying puberty.
He's implying puberty, or he's implying he knows he has powers.
Yes. So which is it? Do you not know, or do you know?
I mean, okay. No, I wish they'd done better though. The following morning when he does get his powers, because it's just kind of bland. Like, it's awesome that he just realized he doesn't need glasses anymore. He just lifts off his shirt. It has a 6-pack.
Yeah.
But you know what I remember from Amazing Spider-Man? A clock being smashed.
Yes.
Or how he couldn't stop breaking things with his hands.
Mm-hmm.
By accident. I want to see more shenanigans like that.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine accidentally breaking your uncle's sink and you're like, what the hell?
I think that's the other thing. The pacing of this movie is
fast.
Is very fast, and yet, but not too fast that you're scratching your head. Because you get the basic gist of it. Peter Parker's a geek, gets bitten by a spider, gets spider powers, wants to earn money from them. Uncle gets killed. It turns out it was indirectly his fault. So now he's a superhero. And that all happens in like what, 55 minutes?
Yeah.
In the first hour. And there's really not much of him there's not much footage of him getting used to his powers.
No,
yes, there's a
time jump. Not even a montage.
Yeah, there was a time jump. Also, another controversial thing was about the webbing.
That's actually something I wanted to ask you, Ian, because that's, for some reason, that has kind of been on my mind for the past decade and a half.
Oh boy.
So he actually can organically make webbing that shoots from his wrists that apparently is around his venial era. Around a vein.
Mm-hmm.
And since veins are the ones that are supposed to, like bring blood back into the heart, wouldn't that mean his heart would be filled with webbing? I'm asking the science part. I'm asking the scientist, Ian.
Scientist, Ian, oh boy.
Scientist Ian, what's your conclusion?
Well, I don't think it was necessarily in his vein. I think it might have been like a gland around the tendon. Hold your hand up. Bend your hand like that.
For the record, viewers, I am holding my hand up.
And he's
Do
not
you
looking
see
like a dog.
the tendons from your hand going down the front of your arm?
Yeah.
I think it would simply be him pressing against those tendons with his muscles that trigger the web to come out.
And he does have to like bring his hand down to activate the webbing. So, you know, like kind of like I don't know what is the technical term for it, but he's got to extend his arm and then bring his hand down, you know, like have point with his wrist.
Extend his hand.
It's extend his hand and use the two middle fingers to press against the back palm to activate it.
Mm-hmm.
The back of its palm. So, button.
Okay.
Like, there's actually a web slinging mechanic right there.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I want to ask you, what do you think of the fact that it's now organic instead of actual, like, a mechanic web slingers?
Well, when I was a kid, when I saw those tapes that my dad brought home, I actually thought he really did shoot webs. So this movie really just confirmed what I thought. I mean, I didn't know it was a gadget. So it didn't bother me none. But here's the thing. A Spider-Man movie has been in the works for years. For decades. There was even a point where the people behind Superman 4 was actually going to make it. And it was going to be vastly different. They actually took Spider-Man to be literal, like it was a man spider.
Oh gosh.
And then the savior of storytelling, James Cameron, was actually attached to the project. His version was actually going to be a little bit more mature. Like, actually going to have the movie end with Peter Parker and Mary Jane actually making love on top of the Oscorp Tower after defeating the Green Goblin.
Oh my.
Yes.
Oh.
So you can. Oh my. So clearly that idea was scrapped. But one idea he did have, which made it into the movie, was organic web shooters.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on one hand, I find it intriguing. This is why I like different adaptations. I love different versions. This is why I love, Michael Keaton Batman, Christian Bale Batman, freaking Batfleck, and even the Adam West Batman. Why? Because I love comparisons.
Yeah.
I love, the idea of having an organic web coming out of your wrist is intriguing, but I still love the idea of having a mechanical gadget that he has to be more, tactful with it, because he only has so much in supply.
And that's also because it's mechanical, that he can design it for any kind of uses that he wants, whereas with organic,
there's only one way to use it.
There's only one way to use it, and he was able to, and in the movie, he was able to use it for multiple ways. That, how did he shape the web? I mean, was it just through force of will alone?
I always, the trilogy movies never made sense with that. There's always a lot of inconsistency, like how did he force that web? How did he use that powers in the second one? But that will be neither here or there.
Until we get there.
But there's a lot of questions with that organic webbing. Because unlike with the gadget, he has to purposely make adjustments to it, like impact webbing, so the webbing is more hurtful.
Mm-hmm.
As well as webbing that's resistant to electricity and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And okay. Sorry to get us off topic, but I just scrolled past another part on IMDb that reminded me of actually my other favorite part of the movie, the cage fight.
Yes.
Mostly, and really just if no other reason than Randy Macho Man Savage. You're not. It's his voice. It's so. I mean, it's so unique, and the way. just the fact that he goes, "You're going nowhere. I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime." Oh.
Snap! Hold on. I gotta do this. Snap into a Slim Jim! I'm sorry, guys. I had to do that.
Yeah.
I had to do that.
Oh.
Sad fact. The day he died, a Slim Jim factory was shut down.
Ouch.
But seriously, he was named the Spider early in his wrestling career?
Apparently, yeah.
Wow. That gives more meaning to that than I saw it.
Let's see. Ian? Who was the guy that directed Alien 3?
David Fincher,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yes, David Fincher.
Well, about 2 lines below that, David Fincher was asked to direct this movie. His version would have told the origin story just in the opening credits, and would have been based on the night Gwen Stacy died.
Ooh.
So we got, which is the bridge scene.
The bridge scene, but with actually Gwen Stacy.
He said it would have been based on,
Based on?
based on. So it could have been Gwen Stacy, could have been Mary Jane, and it could have resulted in the love interest being dead at the end. Hell, it could have even been Betty Brant.
Ooh, Betty. I forget that Peter has multiple love interests instead of just Gwen and Mary. There's Liz Allen, Betty Brant. So many.
But let's see. Now, the idea of telling the origin story in the opening credits, obviously, since this is an origin story movie, that didn't happen. But we sort of kind of did get that in movie 2, where we're told the previous movie in the opening credits.
Actually, guys, I just thought of something that made me realize why this is more or less an opinion, but I think I realized why I like Tom Holland's Spider-Man more than this after rewatching it. Because we're constantly in both movie, at least in the first movie of Amazing Spider-Man, and this, Tom Holland is more like a kid.
Yes.
It's more like a kid, and we don't actually have Spider-Man staying in high school. We're always having him going to college.
I think that's why I like the Amazing Spider-Man one, is because Peter Parker is still in high school, so it's a lot like the original comics. And then they graduate at the beginning of the second movie, and then we're back to Sam Raimi territory.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I understand it's scary to stay in high school territory. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah, but the thing about Spider-Man is that it's Stan Lee's own way of telling a coming-of-age story. It's about a kid who is actually forced to grow up not because he witnessed his parents being murdered, or because he was trapped in a cave and had to build himself a high-powered suit to get out, but because he got powers that he decided to use for selfish reasons, and that came to bite him in the ass. By that point, childhood is over, and so now he's forced to grow up and also live by the words his guardian left him, and yet he's still trying to find balance between trying to have a normal life and still trying to help the people of New York. In Spider-Man, in the first Spider-Man, not so much. In the Amazing Spider-Man 2, holy hell, good God, does Peter Parker have trouble?
Oh yeah.
But in the Amazing Spider-Man, yeah, it's a lot like it definitely plays out like a kid who's still trying to figure out his place in the world. Yeah,
and honestly, I think that's what bugs me more about Sam Raimi. It's more or less, large part of Spider-Man's thing is he is still a kid. And even though you're 18 years old, you're still a kid in my eyes, fellas. because we're still in the process of maturing. And what are your when did he get his powers? At age what?
I don't know. I guess maybe 16.
So that's like almost 2 years of high school shenanigans with powers that he could have been exploited. That's 2 years that he learned to come to terms and how to use his powers. Imagine the whole movie trying to use his powers, come to contact with villains who are way above his league,
Mm-hmm.
and having to learn how to fight. But with Spider-Man 1, we kind of glossed that over very briefly. In fact,
Yeah.
we don't even, we see him taking on Flash, but that's Flash.
It's Flash, and also he's taking on a bully.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how. I mean, I don't know how many. I don't know how many of you listeners were actually bullied, but seeing someone stand up to theirs is pretty damn awesome.
It's gratifying.
Yes, very gratifying. It gives us emotional closure, sort of.
Yeah.
And it also makes you kind of wish, like, damn, why can't I do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, regardless though, it's like, we kind of skipped the whole, baptism by fire with his powers, instead of going straight into I don't know, if people who love Spider-Man just want to see him take on the Green Goblin right away.
But for what it's worth, and that's kind of why I say that this movie, the entire Spider-Man franchise, has now kind of gone the way of Doctor Who and James Bond. Everyone's got their own, and it's best that if you like one Spider-Man over the other, that's fine. If you think one is better, all right. I respectfully disagree, and I'm not gonna say you're wrong. Just give me a good reason.
Just give me a good reason other than Bob Chipman, movie Bob saying lightning in a bottle.
Lightning in a bottle.
Because I don't believe in that crap.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be a thing, but
Yeah, Ghostbusters.
yeah, that's what I was thinking actually.
Okay. So, Ian, do you have anything?
You guys want to respond to some of the reviews? Reception?
Like what?
Okay, this might be entertaining.
Spider-Man became the first film to pass the $100 million mark in a single weekend, even when adjusting for inflation, with its $116,844 mark, establishing a new opening weekend record.
Oh yeah, that's actually impressive. And even when adjusted for inflation, it's a movie. No movie still has done that. Or at least to my immediate knowledge. I think Endgame and Infinity War might have dethroned it.
Might have.
The film also set a record for crossing the $100,000 milestone in 3 days, at the time being the fastest any film had reached the mark. Its opening weekend haul had an average of $31,769 per theater, which at the time Box Office Mojo reported as being the highest per theater average for even an ultra-wide release. The film's 3-day record was surpassed by Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest 4 years later.
And it kind of makes sense that Spider-Man had a terrific opening box office weekend, because it's Spider-Man. Next to Superman, he's like one of the most iconic heroes known all over the world.
In fact, actually, this is not the first on-screen adaptation. Japan beat us in that.
Yes, Japan has their own dramatically different Spider-Man.
And Stan Lee approves of it.
Spider-Man series, and funny enough, that Spider-Man series is the reason how we got Power Rangers.
Oh, fate! How you work in mysterious ways.
So I don't know if it's not. So we not only have to. Oh God! What happened?
Whoa!
Whoa.
The film dropped to its second position in its third weekend, behind Star Wars Episode 2: Attack of the Clones.
Ooh.
Hold on, let me get my barf bag. Oh. I hate sand. It's coarse and rough and it's everywhere. Oh my God.
Spider-Man was the highest grossing superhero origin film, a record it held for 15 years, until it was surpassed by Wonder Woman in 2017.
Nice. You were saying though?
Man, I can't. Oh, I was gonna say I'm gonna go out into the woods and scream into the moon.
Oh man. That sounds like a screaming goat.
Or fish legs.
But okay, now before that little sidetrack, I was gonna go. Okay, Wonder Woman. Props to her. Passing of the torch.
Passing the torch, awesome.
Because Wonder Woman was the only decent superhero movie from the DCEU.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it was a female-led superhero movie. It was a good DC movie. That's why I give it praise.
Yeah. But
On Rotten Tomatoes, the film has an approval rating of 90% based on 239 reviews, with an average rating of 7.6 out of 10. The site's critical consensus reads, quote, "Not only does Spider-Man provide a good dose of web-swinging fun, it also has a heart, thanks to the combined charms of director Sam Raimi and star Tobey Maguire," end quote.
Okay, I think... Alright, I have a little bit of nitpicks when it comes to Tobey Maguire. Now, there are parts where, like we've said multiple times, he's a good geeky Peter Parker, and a little in the Spider-Man department. But during parts when he's Peter Parker, he just looks zoned out, like lost.
he's lost in another dimension.
He's staring off into space, or like Data, who's trying to process like what emotion I should be feeling, but nothing's coming up.
That's not to mention how many derp faces he makes.
Derp faces. There's not many in this. There's not many in this one.
No, but there's plenty to be had.
And that's kind of that's something I didn't notice until just rewatching that, is that yeah, Tobey Maguire just looks lost in this movie when he's Peter Parker. Other times when he has to be geeky or socially awkward, nails it. He nails it down pat.
But that's kind of weird. Like, okay, first off, yeah, I understand him being socially awkward before getting the powers, but after, wouldn't that give him a confidence boost?
Probably. Maybe it's supposed to be like Clark, the theory of Clark Kent. You know, of why no one can make the connection to Superman. That he's Superman, because Superman, he's graceful, powerful, and confident. Clark Kent is geeky, clumsy, and
yeah,
that kind of thing.
I mean, granted, you could argue that he did get confident considering he went wrestling.
Yeah,
but not so much at school.
Yeah, so that's the nitpick I have, is that sometimes Tobey Maguire is just a little too robotic. Like blank face, it means dramatic. Like, what's that thing out there? I don't know. Whatever it is, something has to stop it.
But regardless, What other things can we talk about, gentlemen? We talked about the villains. We talked about Mary Jane Watson, love interests.
How about the jump scare?
Jeez.
The jump scare? There's a jump scare?
Yeah, there's a jump scare.
What was that?
That's what.
Fire.
That's,
Is that the?
that's after. That's after the. That's after the Green
right.
Goblin test.
Oh, that's right. A fire.
No, not the fire. I'm talking about. I'm talking about. I'm talking about Norman's flashback to having a seizure in the chamber.
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
the night,
and
the morning after. You know, passed out on the floor like he's drunk. He goes, "What'd you do last night?" Last night, and you know, strings going like, and then cuts back. Lasts for a second. I mean, 12 years old, I freaking jumped. But nowadays, that's freaking hilarious.
Yeah. But we're talking about Sam Raimi.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Some guys, some directors like to put their favorite things in it, even though it might not fit.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I think that's a good personal touch.
Yeah, it is.
It gives it a comic book feel.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to describe it. It's more of a comic book rather than a movie.
It is. It is a comic book movie in, I guess, in the most literal sense.
It is. I think that's the biggest problem that you and I have. It's not. We view movies as not like when you're adapting something. Like, obviously, you gotta make it for film, and film is not just
Film and comic books
are different mediums.
are different mediums. They're similar mediums. However, one uses a single frame, another uses 24 frames.
And so,
But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't completely disregard the comics. I mean, there are some angles in comics that you just cannot replicate.
oh no. But I think that's the reason why, like, I like future Spider-Man films, and why I really don't have much love for early superhero films. Not that I don't like the early ones, but they feel too much like a comic book and not like something that you can actually watch it like. No, it could happen in real life.
True.
Because whether or not you watch the Dark Knight trilogy, you watch Iron Man, and you look at the MCU movies, they felt like, yeah, this is set in the real world where people don't talk like they are poorly written characters, and it actually have natural charisma.
Yeah. Where I can kind of see where you're coming from, and I kind of have to agree with you. Although there are some superhero movies from the 90s that I actually like The Shadow. Alec Baldwin as a superhero.
Okay,
buy me that.
Okay, for a second, I thought you were thinking about. I was thinking the Billy Zane the Phantom.
No, no.
Wrong hero movie.
Nope, The Shadow. It's a lot like think of it like Batman 1989.
Huh.
But a little. It's just a little more toned down.
Yeah,
but it's still kind of hilarious.
Yeah, actually, I take back what I said earlier. When I say most of the early '90s movies, I'm excluding Batman because for some, like, at least Tim Burton Batman movies.
Yes,
those are excluded because they just have something unique to them that doesn't feel like comic booky or unlike say
Joel Schumacher.
Yeah.
Alright. Let's see. I can't think.
I don't know, Ian. What do you think of the information that I shared? Is it too comic booky?
Yeah, I kind of like the comic booky feel because I never got into it, so I kind of like that style, as opposed to standard Marvel movies today, where it's just, for me, it's just another run-of-the-mill movie. I like the comic book feel. It adds more of a fantasy element for me.
Okay. And I can understand that. which is why I kind of recommend the movies from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, especially The Shadow.
Well, remember, I will be reviewing the Adam West Batman series. We'll see how that stacks up.
Oh boy.
Good luck.
So I think we've now run out of steam, gentlemen.
Yeah. Oh, Kristen Dunst won Best Actress in an Empire Award.
Oh.
An
An Empire Award?
Grammys. It was nominated. MTV Movie Awards. Kristen Dunst won Best Female Performance. Best Kiss, obviously. Lovebirds. Best Music. Saturn Award. Danny Elfman won that.
Danny Elfman.
That's another thing. What makes this movie stand out is Danny Elfman's songs.
Yeah.
That's kind of lacking with the other ones.
Well,
Then again-
not James Horner. James Horner did The Amazing Spider-Man.
I know. I'm not dissing him, but I remember Danny Elfman's version more than James. Not to be cruel.
Okay.
It's just.
It's okay. Okay. I understand. Our friendship is over.
Oh, come on.
But Danny Elfman, they're acting.
I will argue, though, Danny Elfman's music tends to blend together.
It does have that distinctive feel, almost that, much like how John Williams has his style, where you can tell, oh yeah, that's John Williams. So is Danny Elfman. In fact, there were actually points in the movie where I heard cues that made me think of Men in Black, because he did do the music for Men in Black, another comic book movie.
Mm-hmm.
Dun, 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 dun,
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun. And then,
Yeah.
you know what's weird? There are sometimes I confuse the Spider-Man theme with the Batman theme. Dun, 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 dun.
Danny Elfman did that.
Yep. Dun, 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 dun.
It's like John Williams, who did both Superman and Indiana Jones, and they sound similar.
Oh, yeah.
And Star Wars.
Dun, dun, dun. And Star Wars is very unique. You can easily tell that apart.
Yeah.
Superman and Indiana Jones are very similar.
Yeah, even the startup tune.
Okay, you can actually set them apart if you start at the beginning.
But fun fact of the day, the director Richard Donner interrupted the session and say, "That is it," and ruined the score, so he had to record it again. I feel bad, but I can understand his enthusiasm when he gets something right.
Let's see. Alright,
Ratings.
All right, gentlemen. Yep. Let's get our ratings.
Ratings. Whew, this is tough.
Now that I've seeing as how now that this is actually the first movie in, I guess we can call it a legacy series.
Yeah.
We can't ignore the idea that Spider-Man was the movie that proclaimed to everyone in cinema that superhero movies are here.
Yeah.
X-Men kind of got the ball rolling. Blade kind
of kicked it off.
Kind of jump started it.
Yeah.
So without Spider-Man's success, we wouldn't have had. Well, unfortunately, we had Daredevil, Ghost Rider, Fantastic Four. But we wouldn't have had Spider-Man 2 and Iron Man and a majority of the other MCU movies. So we do owe this movie some credit.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's not to say we were bashing it by any means. It's just no.
Oh, I think I'll give this movie a solid 8 out of 10.
I agree. I'm giving it 8 out of 10 with 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. The dialogue is definitely, and the CGI is out of date. Tobey Maguire, while good as a geeky Peter Parker, is not so much
to be desired.
Is not so much a good Spider-Man. Willem Dafoe as Norman Osborn and the Green Goblin is really where the rewatch value comes in.
The itsy spider.
And the water spout.
And honestly, Sam Raimi did a fantastic job of pretty much just making a timeless setting and making it look like it came from the original comics.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, 8 out of 10.
Alright, giving you my score review. It's 8 out of 10, 2 thumbs up. This film does deserve the credit it gets. And while I did so much nitpicking was thrown around, it's more or less because there's so much love I have for this film, but my opinion is you can always do better.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously no film is perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect film. I will argue tooth and nail.
Mm-hmm.
And for anyone who says, well, there's some movies that get 10 out of 10, like, that's based on personal objective preference.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
How to Train Your Dragon, for instance.
Yes.
Yep. So, again, most of this, I love it to death when I was a kid. I still love it to death, because all the memory it brings. It gives me the great, the fuzzy feels of, my dad taking me to this movie and showing me just what the world of Spider-Man was like.
Mm-hmm. Ian?
Like you guys, I have to say 8 out of 10, and 2 web-slinging hands way, way up. This film, like I said at the beginning, this was my first superhero movie ever. This sort of got me into superhero movies, and I can enjoy them from time to time thanks to this film. So, along with the legacy that it has left on our generation, this was, I think for a lot of people in our generation, one of the first superhero movies we saw. And that's commendable. This ushered in the superhero movie era.
Mm-hmm. That era, which I like to call the experimental era.
Oh, so, okay, out of curiosity, you call that experimental era? What's the era before that?
The trial and error.
Trial and error? Like Superman?
No, I guess you can, if you're gonna make it more like the, I guess the experimental era is now kind of inaccurate nowadays. I guess we can call like the beginning of the first, like the Superman and Batman movies the Golden Age. Then now do
we call this a Silver Age?
No, actually, because what I like to think is that I guess in the 90s is when superhero movies were kind of starting to die out.
Steel.
Yes, Steel, Batman and Robin, The Phantom.
Oh god.
And then, but I guess come 1999 with Blade, and then all the way to 2008 was kind of like an era. I guess maybe that would be a Silver Age. But I think then when 2008 with Iron Man and the start of the MCU, I kind of want to call that a renaissance. Which now after Endgame and the current direction that the MCU is going,
leaves that much in question.
Means we might be heading towards dark times.
Well, what comes up
must come down, as the song goes.
Yes.
But I mean, you guys have anything else?
No, I mean, Spider-Man is awesome. it's a good film. And some of the other films, while yeah, a lot of them have their problems, there's not one that's better than the other. It's like I said, Spider-Man is like James Bond and Doctor Who. You have your own, live with it, and also be respectful of someone else.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna have discussions are okay. You can discuss why you like your heroes.
Yeah.
No, those are fine.
I think
Trying to force your opinions down other people's throats about why your version is better is not.
In fact, I think this movie had such a legacy. I think there was an idea for Into the Spider-Verse where they would actually have Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland, and Andrew Garfield voice of Peter Parker in there.
I would have loved that.
That would have been awesome.
You know.
But yeah, just like there's multiple interpretations of Spider-Man, of Peter Parker himself, doesn't mean that there is one true Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I hope the day comes when we can see, like, you know, at some point, like, if you ever read the Spider-Girl or Spider-Woman comics where Peter's daughter becomes...
Oh, yeah. Mayday Parker.
Mayday Parker. I would love to see that live-action movie.
Oh, yeah.
Mostly because of how essentially Peter's forced retirement, air quote. Oof, that was ugly.
Oh, sorry, random trivia. Just found something else.
Random trivia?
Yep, sorry.
Derailed again.
Derailed again, yeah. Okay, found a bit of the trivia. It says, in the comics, Peter Parker designed and made Spider-Man's synthetic spider web and the mechanical wrist guns that fire it. In the movie, he shoots web fluid that is actual proteinaceous. I'm gonna have to send this to you. Proteinaceous spider silk from his own wrists. Here's the fun part. Director Sam Raimi answered the protests of comic book fans, saying that it was more credible to have Peter shoot webs this way than for a high school student to be able to produce a wonder adhesive in his spare time that 3M could not make.
3M?
Yeah, the company that makes command hooks.
Oh.
and the sticky notes.
Ah.
So, yeah, that is kind of credible. Because if you could make spider silk, why not just patent it?
Then again, that was never mind.
If you could actually make synthetic spider silk that is sticky enough in your own spare time, why not sell it to 3M? Money problems are solved. There would be very little conflict in movie 2. Yes, Ian?
We already do that.
Oh, that's already done?
Yes, we have genetically engineered goats to produce spider silk in their milk.
That sounds...
What do you do when you get thirsty?
That sounds...
Spider silk's just protein. It digests like any other protein.
Yeah, okay, but does it have that stringy feel to it?
I don't know. We spin the protein out. We put it in a centrifuge, I believe, and we spin it out.
Okay.
And then we bind it together really, really thick, and it's basically steel.
Okay.
So we have spider goats.
Okay, so all right, so
well, okay,
but
that's
this,
not far-fetched. Into the Spider-Verse has Spider Pig.
Right, but this. Okay, but did you have that 15 years ago?
Yeah, let me check.
Because if not, I think that's the context of this.
That's cheating.
What?
That's cheating.
No, that's not cheating. I didn't say that's cheating.
I don't know. I mean, Peter Parker is a prodigy, so it's not like he's an average high school boy. If you emphasize average, then I could see skepticism. But
but in this movie, it's not even shown that he's a prodigy.
Which is the problem. Because
okay,
it is shown that he is a prodigy.
BioSteel was a trademark name for a high-strength, fiber-based material made from the recombinant spider silk-like protein extracted from the milk of transgenic goats made by Montreal-based company Nexia Biotechnologies, and later by the Randy Lewis Lab of the University of Wyoming and Utah State University. Let's pull it up.
Very interesting derailment.
Hey, I'm on this show. We do science.
I might have to put
Science!
this. I might have to put this in an earlier part of the podcast.
Whatever. As of 2012, there are about 30 spider goats at a university-run farm. When did it start? Company was founded and sold in 2005. Next, Yes, to say about 2012.
Okay, so 10 years after the movie came out.
Yeah.
But regardless, he's mostly sidestepping the issue that Peter Parker is not an average boy, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's make human spiders. Spider humans.
Spider humans.
Spider humans.
Oh god. Oh god, no, never mind. Don't do that. That means we would secrete spider silk proteins in human milk.
Okay, please.
Okay.
Guys, I
Get
gotta
outta
work
here.
tomorrow. I need a lunch to eat. I don't want this in my head.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I do need to go to work I need to wake up in like 7 hours.
Okay, so so then that means we're
Let's get out of here. Quick, get
We're
out.
calling it a night yet. Okay. So on that sobering note,
Spider-Man.
we'll see you all next time, listeners. For what was it gonna be in The Dark Knight?
Either The Dark Knight or Superman. How about we put it up to a vote?
Let's put
it up to the vote.
Put it up to a vote. Okay. All right, listeners, if you're still here, what should be the next movie that we review next month?
There will be
The
a
Dark
poll
Knight
on the
or
Omerkata Picture Facebook page.
yes, choices are Dark Knight or Superman.
Which
Does it?
Superman?
The original.
The original? Okay.
The original, right?
Yeah.
Yes, the original.
Okay. Had to clarify.
Okay. All right. Until then, see you next time.
See you guys.
Laters.